After the inaugural week of the new XFL, how will it compare and stack up to the NFL? Will the Tech basketball team be able to keep their winning streak alive and make it to the big dance? Who in the NBA came out on top during the trade deadline? And who will shine during the NBA All-Star break? And with opening day this Friday, how will the expectations of the men's baseball team fare out this season after an appearance in the College World Series? Find out next. MCTV Sports 101 starts now. Hey there, sports fans, and welcome to MCTV Sports 101. I'm Austin Seat.
And I'm Ryan Heller. This past week, the XFL made its return with 4 games to kicking off the start of the new inaugural season, with 8 teams in their league, with many games held over the next 10 weeks. However, many fans are wondering how this league will fare and whether it will fare like before or become a real legitimate league. So Austin, what is your take on the league, and how do you think it will compare to both the NFL and the previous XFL and the AAF? Well,
I will say this. There's a huge difference between the last time they brought the XFL and then the previous AAF, and then I think they did the AFL way back when in the 1980s. I think this league has a legit chance to stay in contention after one season. I mean, and if you look at some of the stats, they had just over 3 million viewers watching the game.
In just 1 week, too.
In just 1 week. And they had more tickets sold for the games compared to the entire season that the AAF was around.
There were more tickets sold just before the kickoff.
Yeah, more tickets sold. So I think this, because it's not under like the previous XFL, it's under a business type management company and not under like the WWE where they try to make it almost a reality show. I think it's more likable. There's more tickets being sold. More people are watching it. I think I think the NFL can use it as a way to view new rules being implemented to the game. And frankly, it's more likable. I think more people are enjoying it. I mean, the Dallas Renegades, they're playing in the old Ranger baseball park, and he said like not only him but also other professionals are also liking it. So I think it's going to stick around for a while. I do like it because like you said, not as much WWE type, because the reason why the last XFL folded was because not only were they trying to compete with the NFL, try to say that they're better than the NFL, but they were making it more like you said, reality, more like a combo of WWE and football. I'm like, well, if I'm going to watch something that's WWE-like, I'm just going to watch the WWE, yeah, you're just gonna,
and then the NFL when it's on. I mean, like, why even bother?
Well, yeah, why bother watching them at the same time? It's not compatible. Whereas with this one,
it feels more like football. Actually.
It's more football-orientated, but you still have the interviews, for example. They interview players like right after a play happens, or interview coaches right after a play happens.
And also you can hear the coaches calling out the plays, the quarterback giving out the plays. Mm-hmm. And one thing I like about it is also some of the new rules I think are very interesting. For instance, their overtime, they have it to where it's kind of like a soccer shootout for overtime. Yeah. Sort of like that, to where like you have five chances for 5 rounds of 2-point conversions. And then it's kind of like with hockey and soccer, if it's tied after those 5, then they keep going until one person scores and another doesn't. Mm-hmm. And also another thing was also
the kickoff was the main one.
The kickoff, and I also like the fact that there's 2 forward passes that you can do instead of the first one having to be a lateral before the forward pass.
What I also think is going to be good that the NFL needs to adopt, and I mean needs to, is with the replay, how they allow you to tap into the refs' mics and hear their thought process going through a replay and hear the explanation. Because a lot of times fans are like, well, what's going on? And even some of the players and coaches. So I think that's going to help out a lot.
They're just talking. It sounds like they're just mouthing or just like silently.
Well, sometimes you don't know what's going on, and I think this helps out a lot. And I think the NFL needs to adopt it.
I do too. I think, but like I do think that unlike the AAF, I do think unless there's any financial or legal troubles, because that's why the AAF folded, because there was some legal troubles and financial troubles. Unless any of that stuff happens,
the XFL could be around for a while.
The XFL could because they got the TV subscriptions going on with ESPN, Fox, and CBS, and I do think that if the crowds stay like the way they did for another 2 or 3 weeks, I think there's a possibility that it could stay for a year, possibly longer.
Agreed. Well, after a close game against the Kansas Jayhawks, the Red Raiders lost 78-76. With that loss, the Red Raiders then played games against Oklahoma and Texas, winning both and improving their record to 15-8. So Ryan, I ask you this. With the NCAA tournament only a few months away, can Tech keep this winning streak going to qualify for the tournament? And what seed do you think they will get if they do qualify?
Well, right now, I think that Texas Tech do have a good chance because you look at their next 3 games. Actually, all their games until Baylor, they are favorite in all those games, and they were favored against Texas. They were favored against Oklahoma, and they're going to be favored against TCU.
Well, right now, and TCU is a big margin. Right now, they're favored 80. They're favored 86.5% compared to 13.5% for TCU, because TCU is struggling a bit during this season.
They are, and also another thing. Now this kind of ticked me off a little bit. I could have said something else, but I'm going to say ticked off. I actually watched the I forget which station it was on, but I watched the bracketology preview predictions.
And they had us at that 10 seed spot.
They actually had us at the 10th seed, which I thought was a little bit disrespectful considering where we went last year.
Considering we are the national runner-ups.
Now, like with Virginia, they're one of the first 4 out, but that I understand because they've had really rough patches, losing like 4 out of 5 last month, but unlike Texas Tech. So I think that that's a little bit disrespectful, but I think that there's still room to improve. They are coming into this week ranked 24th, so there is a chance to kind of get back into that flow of possibly getting into the top 10 seed.
I agree. Well, I mean, it's Oklahoma won 69-61. Yeah, Texas won 62-57. But I feel like in both those games they were playing from behind. And I feel like that's what it is with majority of these games. Which
and they were playing from behind against Texas, too.
Well, Texas and Kansas, really. But they were able to bring it back. Win against Texas, not against Kansas. Yeah. And that could become a problem down in the NCAA tournament.
I do think
As far as for what seed I think they will be, when they projected us to be 10th, I was not mad about it. Because I think at the time we had just lost to Kentucky. So I'm like, okay, if the season ended today, we'd be ranked 10th. I'm not bad about it because we do have that. We do have a resume where we keep it close with top 10 teams, and we have beaten the number 1 team of Kansas.
Yeah.
So
Louisville.
Or Louisville, sorry. So I think Tech has. I don't think we're going to be at the bottom of that list, but I don't also think we're going to be top. I think Tech has a legit shot to be anywhere between 5 and 10.
That sounds about right.
10 being on the lowest end of the spectrum.
There's some people that are thinking that Texas Tech could possibly go as high as possibly a 7 seed going into the tournament, which I would be okay with, actually.
Well, it's like I said, 5 to 10, which would be all right for most Tech fans, considering how much we lost. So
yeah.
So, but I mean, that's my prediction for it. I think Tech still needs to keep on winning, keep this streak alive in order to keep that and not go down any further.
I do too. I think, but then again, like I said, they are favored for the next 3. They are favored in every game that they play until they go on the road against Baylor. So that is their opportunity. Right now, they control their own destiny. If they want to show that they belong, that they're not, that last time wasn't just a one-year wonder, they need to win these next few games up until Baylor and possibly win against Kansas in order to show them, hey, we still belong. Last year wasn't a fluke.
Right.
Now, with the trade deadline come and gone, many teams will look very different after the All-Star break. While some teams didn't make too much of a change or made big headlines, other teams made some big news with many involving 3-team trades. With many changes, how will these trades help the teams going into the second half of the season? And who will shine during All-Star week? Austin, what's your take?
Well, it was hard to keep up with this trade because there were a lot of 3-team trades, but there was also a 4-team trade, which involved your Houston Rockets,
which I was not pleased about.
No, I wouldn't expect you to, because y'all finally got a big guy, but not the right big guy.
Exactly, some guy from the Grizzlies.
My winners for this is probably going to be the Clippers.
Yes,
the Heat.
I would agree.
And you could argue the Grizzlies, maybe.
I would make a case for the T-Wolves being a winner because they traded for D'Angelo Russell, so I would make a case for that. Yeah,
make a case for that. And then for the losers, obviously the LA Lakers, who I don't think got anybody, or if they did, they didn't get anybody.
I don't think they made any moves.
I think they wanted to, but everything had already happened.
Yeah.
It was like they kind of wanted to wait till the last minute, see what was going on. And then obviously your Houston Rockets. So yeah, you're mad about that one. I know you are.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still picking the Lakers to make it all the way to the NBA Finals. However, with the steal that the Clippers have done, getting Marcus Morris.
Marcus Morris, who, by the way, shined in his debut with the Clippers, by the way.
I do believe that that it's going to be a battle for the Western Conference Championship. Now, as for the East, I think the Heat with Andre Iguodala could make a contention for the Eastern Conference Finals. However, I'm still picking a Bucks Celtics run for that one. So
I would agree with that. Now, to me, I will agree because
I will say this for this NBA season, it is different because before all the power teams would be in the East, and then there'd be like one, maybe two for the West. Now it's starting to even out. So where you've got multiple teams from each of the two conferences getting a shot. So
to me, I think definitely a winner is the Heat because they got Andre Iguodala and obviously the Clippers. To me, the loser is obviously the Rockets because to me, the Rockets team that I grew up watching, that my dad's grew up watching, my grandpa grew up, my grandpa grew up watching. The Rockets have a history of big time centers. You look at Elvin Hayes, Ralph Sampson, Hakeem Olajuwon, Yao Ming, for 2 seasons Dwight Howard. I mean, they're and now going onto the small ball, it's just such a shock to Rockets fans because we're used to that big time center. And also going into the Western Conference, you look at so many of the teams that are contenders. The Nuggets, they have Jokic. The Lakers, they have Howard. They have AD. And even Utah, they have Gobert.
Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets. You've got the Dallas Mavericks with Porzingis and Doncic.
And Doncic. So now
Doncic, I will say this.
Capella, and you gave him away.
But hold on. Doncic, I will say this, is probably going to be running away with Rookie of the Year. I'm just going to say that.
Oh, well, that was last year though. Now he's a second.
Well, he ran away with Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to make a finals appearance within the next 5 to 10 years. That's my opinion. But he ran away with Rookie of the Year. He's doing swell his sophomore season. The Dallas Mavericks are starting to become a contender again with Porzingis in that small Dirk team. But now you've got a good point guard in Luka Doncic. It's going to be interesting to see how the NBA forms for the next few days.
Because unlike the Rockets, I got it because see this is pardon my language, but this is what pisses me off. Mike D'Antoni is trying to say, well, we live and die by the 3, and which to me is stupid because you can you can bring your length and your size and your rim protection every game. You cannot always bring your three-point shooting to the game. You need to have that rim protection. You need to have that size. They had that in Capella, and instead of trying to get another center or possibly someone instead of Capella, they screwed that up. I'm going to tell you this right now. If the Rockets don't get past the second round because of this, the Houston Rockets coach next year will not be Mike D'Antoni. Now I would say they keep Daryl Morey because this is his only bad moves. I'm gonna give him a slap on the wrist.
Yeah. Throwing the white flag here, dude. We don't.
I'm sorry.
We don't have a 2-hour-long show here to talk.
This just angered me.
For you to go on a rant about the Rockets.
It angered me so much. I know. I'm sorry.
But we cannot go on.
I know.
Look, just folks, leave a comment section. Give some love over here to Ryan. He obviously needs it. I mean, this has not been going well for Houston.
It has not.
For the Houston teams here soon. Moving on, with opening day going down this Friday, the men's baseball team looks to continue their winning ways from last season as they face Houston Baptist here at Dan Law Field at 1 p.m. After a College World Series appearance last year, the Red Raiders are looking to not only continue their success, but also get over that final hump and make it, hopefully, to a World Series final appearance. So, Ryan, I ask you this. What are the expectations for the team this year as they get it ready for the new season?
Well, I was a little bit unsure until last month when I found out that John McMillan, not only is Josh Young's little brother Jace coming into Tech this year, hopefully he's even half as good as Josh Young, but also John McMillan, who was drafted in the 11th round by the Tigers, chose to stay for his senior season.
Yeah.
And anytime you can get a guy who could throw 100 miles an hour in college baseball, that is a huge asset. So I think that we're coming into the season ranked number 6 in the country, and I think
Is that the highest we've been ranked?
No, actually the highest was last year. We were ranked 3rd in the country, and then we lost the first game to Oregon.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
but I think that we can get back to to Omaha this year. I have faith in our upperclassmen, our juniors and seniors. I have faith in our returning sophomores, and I also have faith in Tim Tadlock, who has done more for this baseball program than any other manager has done in the history of Tech baseball. So I say College World Series appearance for a 3rd straight year.
I will agree with you on that one. College World Series for a third straight year. You're coming off a previous College World Series appearance, losing to Michigan, sadly. Then you've got a lot of returning starters. You have Josh Young's younger brother coming up. Way to put the pressure on him, by the way.
Yeah.
I was talking to you on that one.
Sorry, Jace. We still love you. We still love the Young family.
Yes. So I think there's a lot of expectations, especially if you're ranked number 6th. I mean, last year you were ranked number 3rd. You lose to Oregon. This year you're ranked 6th. Is there you're hoping there's not a repeat of last year, but you never know. It is baseball. Anything can happen.
That's true.
So it'll be interesting to see how the season goes on for Tech. Because like you said, a lot of returning starters, a lot of good talent, 100-mile-an-hour pitcher. You got a great baseball manager. I think Tech has a real good shot of not only getting back to the College World Series, but also what did they get to? They got to like what?
They got to the Final Four. They got to the semifinals where they eventually lost to Michigan. I believe.
So
it was
if they
in
won that
6.
game, they'd have been in the.
If they beat Michigan in Game 6, they would have moved to face them one more time in Game 7, and then moved to the championship against Vanderbilt.
Okay, so I think this year, and this is a bold prediction. I mean, really bold.
That's okay.
It's not out there, but it's a bold prediction. I bet that the baseball team will get over the final hump and make it to the College World Series finals.
I think they could. I think
I'm not going to predict they're going to win yet because we haven't seen them play in a while. So, but I do predict that they're going to make it to the finals.
I do too. And one other thing is, it's not just Jace Young, but also from what I saw, it looked like we have a lot of good and talented, promising young freshmen. And also what I liked is, because like last year we only had Dane Haveman that we used for left-handed pitching. So, but this year it looked like that we recruited a lot of left-handed pitching and right-handed pitching, which will make our pitching game more versatile and our bullpen more versatile. Because if you rely on just one left-handed pitcher, it's not always the best thing. So if you can have right and left-handed pitching, I think that's going to help as well.
Well, it'll be interesting to see because now all the spring sports are doing very well by getting into these NCAA tournaments. Now, if we can just get football,
please. Matt Wells,
I know it was his first year, folks. I know it was his first year, but still.
But Matt Wells, please, we have faith in you for at least a few more years.
or less, depending on how you do.
That's true.
Well, moving on. Now it's time for Who You Got. We got a big one today, and as far as our records go, I will say this. I am still up 4-3 to 3-4. Don't know how that happened. Don't ask me how it happened. You can write it down in the comment section. We may get to it later. But to start off, we have the Dallas Mavericks versus the Utah Jazz later today. Ryan, who do you got?
I'm going to go with the Utah Jazz on this one. Now, I know you're thinking, Utah Jazz, they just beat the Rockets on a buzzer beater. Why would you pick the Jazz? Well, I'll tell you why. Because even though that, I still think that they are a very talented team. I think that like not too long ago, they were number 2 in the West.
Jokic.
Remember that?
Yes.
So yeah. So
and they're still in playoff.
They're still a very good team. They're still the best They are still the best three-point shooting team as far as three-point percentage, and they still have Gobert, who's averaging 14.5 rebounds a game, averaging 2 blocks a game. Donovan Mitchell is still playing very well.
They're ranked 4th. If the series ends right now, they're ranked 4th. They got a record of 34 and 18, so pretty good.
Yeah, and I think that I think that they'll ride that. I think they'll ride 2 very emotional consecutive wins. I'm not going to repeat what Damian said about that win that Utah had against them, but I think that Utah's going to ride those 2 emotional wins. I think they're going to use it against Dallas.
Was it the Utah Jazz who played the Portland Trailblazers recently that Damian Lillard did the?
Yep, Damian said it cost us the bleeping game, so he was very mad about that.
Okay, I'll be honest with you before we get into this. One, I'm picking Dallas, by the way. That should have been no surprise. But 2, I do have to agree with Damian Lillard on that. I thought it was obvious goaltending. But moving on to the game tonight, I'm picking Dallas for this one. Luka is still hurt. I think he wants to play in that All-Star game. He wants to play with LeBron. But I think that Dallas right now is the 7th seed in the Western Conference. That 32-21, halfway through the season. The Memphis Grizzlies are behind them, 27-26, and not too far behind them is the Portland Trailblazers at 25-29. So I think and we've got another pick for them here in a second.
That's right.
But so it's a very close, tight-knit race as of right now for those last 2 spots. I think LeBron. I think 1 through 4 maybe sealed the deal, but still plenty of season left, so we'll find out.
Yep, it's not even the All-Star break yet.
But I've got Dallas on this one.
Okay. I would agree. I would. There's no surprise there.
Now, if you clearly can't tell, I'm a Dallas guy. He's a Houston guy, so.
Yeah, so you know.
Put that phone down, boy. I'll smack your head.
Also tonight we have Texas Tech facing off against the TCU Horned Frogs today. Austin, who you got? You got TCU?
I'm gonna slap you again. I'm actually gonna make connection if you say I got TCU. What color am I wearing?
Yo, red. So we got Texas Tech.
We both have Texas Tech, baby. Of course we do. Why would I choose TCU? They've been struggling. They've been struggling. They're at 13% to win the game. Now, with Tech's recent games and being down by 20 in 5 minutes, I am worried.
I am too.
But I do think Tech will pull it out. So I got Tech.
Now, I think if Texas Tech can get off to a hot start, or at least
which I have not seen in a while.
Or at least make it a competitive start of the game like they did against Oklahoma, where it was at least competitive. It was a good game until the end, where Tech prevailed at the end. I think that they will have a shot, and I think that they will avenge their other loss against TCU. Basically, just all they have to do is just have a better second half than they did against them last time.
I think if they win out and then keep it close between Baylor and Kansas, I think they got a shot.
I think so too.
Well, on Tuesday, we have the Portland Trail Blazers versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Ryan, who you got?
I am going to pick Portland because I do not believe in the Zion hype. So I'm going to pick Portland. Not only that, but also, they're second in blocks, team blocks overall, fourth in turnovers and three-point percentage, and also they're third in the entire team in total team free throw percentage. Which is huge.
Not to mention, they are trying to make a playoff run. They're only 2 games behind Memphis. They're 2 games behind Memphis currently. Although Memphis, I think, has played a little bit less games than they have. I can't really tell here on the schedule on the list. But Portland, San Antonio, and New Orleans are all trying to make that playoff run for that 8th seed. They all have a shot at it.
I think it's a little too late for New Orleans, but I think Portland is still have a shot.
Well,
and
New Orleans. Okay, maybe if you're going to say that, then San Antonio probably doesn't have a shot because they're both at 22 wins. The only difference is New Orleans has 1 more loss than San Antonio. But so, as for my pick on this night, I do believe in the Zion hype because he has obviously proved it with his 20+ points per games in the games that he has started in. And
so you're picking New Orleans?
Yes, I am picking New Orleans.
All right, then.
I'm picking New Orleans for this one.
Okay, then. Well, see, to me, I think Portland's still pissed about that Utah game. So
you could argue that, but I think that's more just Damian Lillard than...
Fair point.
I will say officiating in every sport has been questionable.
And it's not just this year.
For this season, in both in NFL, NBA, you could argue. I didn't really see much in the XFL, and definitely definitely in the men's division of the NCAA. So
yeah.
So reffing has been questionable, but we will not get into that because we will probably get sued.
You know what? It's okay. I probably know some lawyers. Anyway, up next in soccer, we have Arsenal versus Newcastle United in a classic Premier League match. Austin, who you got?
Well, first of all, NBA, if you're watching this, or any officiating crew, I do not know this man. I have no affiliation with this man. 2, as far as for the game, it's difficult to say. It's difficult to say because Arsenal has had some trouble this season, especially in the Premier League. They're ranked I think they're ranked 10th in the table. Last year they were in the top 10. I think they were at 7, just beyond that 6, just beyond that six team to top 4 get into the Champions League for the next season, then 5 and 6 go off and do something. So, and then you obviously have a new manager. There's a little bit of turmoil, but I've got Arsenal winning this one. I think Newcastle isn't doing much better either. They're I think 2 behind them, so they're 2 spots behind them in the polls. So. It's rough. It's rough for them. It's rough for both programs, but I got Arsenal on this one.
Well, before I make my pick, first of all, I just want to say thank you for throwing me under the bus. I see where we stand now. Thank you.
Hey man, we're both in college, but the difference is I actually want to go out and work with some of these people. So I would like to not. I'd like to not get off on a rough start as I enter the building, and I'm like, hey, and it's like, hey, you're that college kid who insulted us on his little podcast. How you doing?
I'll say I'm doing great. But you know what? I'm going to agree with you on this one. I'm going to pick Arsenal as well. Now, yes, I do. Now, yes, they have had a little bit of turmoil lately. They are not living up to their expectations this season yet. But then again, there is still time for them. I believe there's exactly there's a, they have, I would say what they have 5 games left, 6?
Yeah. So well. It depends if you. I don't know. I don't think they're in any tournaments, but there's still a lot of soccer. There's a lot of soccer for some teams. There's a lot of soccer with Champions League.
Okay.
Copa del Rey, I think, just finished. Which shocker, which is we both lost one because Barcelona got stunned.
But yeah, I mean, like I think there's still plenty of time left for Arsenal to come back. If you look at the last 5 games, they have 4 draws, 1 win, but none of them have been losses, so they've still at least been in it.
And for those of you who don't know, I know we haven't talked about soccer much, but that's mainly because Champions League is currently on a break right now.
And we're honoring AD after he graduated. So
yeah, that too. So for those of you who don't remember from our last show with AD was here, for soccer in the tables, if you win a game, you get 3 points. You tie a game, you get 1 point. You lose, you get 0.
Yes, that is correct. Nothing. Bagel.
Donut.
Yeah, donut.
So, but I mean, it's tough. I think for both teams, it's tough. I think Arsenal, especially, not living up to the hype.
There's still time.
There's still time, and there's always next season.
Sure.
Well, finally, to finish it off, we have the NBA All-Star Game between Team LeBron and Team Giannis. Ryan, who you got?
I'm gonna go with Team LeBron. And now, yes, the main reason is because in the draft he picked both Harden and Westbrook.
I was about to say, why would he do that? Oh, yes.
Which also makes me wonder if you picked Team LeBron because Luka's on that team. But I think
the answer may surprise you.
It will. I think that plus also, but I'm just looking for a fun game, but I just hope to get a good win out of this. Well, but I'm going to pick Team LeBron.
The All-Star Game, let's be real, it's not so much for who wins, who loses. It's mainly for having fun. You're showing up in a city, and you're bringing all the NBA's greatest stars, and you're having a fun week essentially. You've got the NBA, the dunk contest, the 3-point contest, skills shootout, the All-Star Game, the Rising Star Game, and the Celebrity Game. It's going to be a fun week.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a fun week this week. Well. Before I was about to end the show right there. No, my pick is going to be Team Giannis. Sorry about that. So
that is a bit of a shocker to me because I know how much you love Luka Doncic.
Yeah, well, to be fair, the reason I'm not picking Luka is because I haven't heard much about his ankle injury or his injury. So I don't know if he's going to play in the All-Star Game or not. But it will be interesting to see. So I was originally going to pick Team LeBron, but I hadn't heard any recent news about Luka's injury, so I'm going to go with Team Giannis on this one.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah, so, well, that's our show for this week's edition of the MCTV Sports 101. Join us next week for the latest big-name stories in sports. I'm Austin C.
And I'm Ryan Heller. We will see you next time. Mine was better.
Well, yeah, you shot a basketball. I threw a sidearm baseball throw. I was going Mahomes.